Hey, this is Brent Jensen. You're listening to No Sleep Till Sudbury, the show where we talk about the music that makes your skin vibrate. The show is brought to you by Pariah Pickups. What you want, what you need, what you'd love. Check them out at pariahpickups.com. The show is also brought to you by Storyfora, the content agency providing people with communication solutions of all sorts. So for writing services of any type, go to Storyfora, that's PHORA.com. And should you be looking for a realtor, look no further than Mr. Steve Fleming. He's my personal realtor. I would not use anyone else. And now that the market is coming back, you might want to give Steve a call. You can find him at FlemingProperties.com. All right, today on No Sleep Till Sudbury, my guest is the legendary Andy Kim. His accomplishments as a singer-songwriter are plentiful. Billboard Hit Parade Hall of Fame, Canadian Music Hall of Fame, Canada's Walk of Fame, and even an Order of Canada. Andy is joining me today because May 10, 2024 marks a very special anniversary for him. Here he is to tell us all about it, Andy Kim. Andy Kim, welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
Brent, I am in awe of this time in my life. You know, when you're on the back porch of your days, you know, people kind of bring you flowers, you know, and they say, oh, this is a good job. Congratulations. But the truth is, I feel very lucky and blessed from a long, long, long time ago.
I'm excited to talk to you today, my friend. I've been doing this show for 7 years, and we've crossed paths a couple times, but I've never really been able to actually sit down with you for a proper episode. So this is a great occasion to do that.
Well, Brent, I'm really honored that you called.
Thank you.
To be honest with you.
Thank you very much. The last time that we spoke, Andy, was at the premiere of the Much Music documentary last year, and you had shared a wonderful story with me on the red carpet about hearing Be My Baby for the first time on a New York radio station through your brother's transistor radio when I think you were like 11 or 12, you told me. And you told me just the best story. You know, I said to you when you were done, and I want to go over that again quickly, but I said that was the best answer to my question that I'd heard all night. And your response was perfect. You said to me, well, Brent, it's the only answer I have.
Well, you know, I don't know if I mentioned that I grew up in the tenements of Montreal.
No.
So we didn't have a TV set. I'm the third of four brothers, and I had two older brothers, and then my kid brother and I showed up. And there's a little bit of a gap between the first two and the second two. And, you know, I've often thought about it. When you grow up in the tenements that we grew up in, your future is almost predicted. And that transistor radio gave me something that I could never have thought of myself. I could never have had the spark to even go beyond the life we were all leading. You know, I mean, we all felt the same because the neighborhood was the same. I mean, you were neighbors and you were friends and you went to the same school and all of that. So, but hearing Be My Baby on WABC jolted me. I had never heard anything like it. Maybe it was the evening with my transistor radio that I borrowed from my brother, and I was lucky enough to get WABC in New York. I also got later on WKBW in Buffalo, but ABC in New York was really, it just connected with me. And not only did they play Be My Baby by the Ronettes, but they started talking about the Ronettes, and they talked about Phil Spector, and they talked about the artists that were coming to New York, were going to perform in New York. Palisades Park was like a big place that they would perform. There was Shea Stadium, but that was Beatle Town, you know?
Yeah.
And talked about the artists. They just didn't play the record. And it opened up a new world for me, almost like a fantasy world. And I believed it. Not only did I believe it, I tried my best to understand and to kind of emulate part of my life that did not really exist. I could never have thought of anything as wild as going to New York City and writing a song and having the ability to reach people around the world, and then 50 some odd years later celebrate Rock Me Gently. It's kind of a surreal life for me because I know where I grew up.
Yeah.
I know that we had our names on broomsticks to kill the critters on the way down to the alleyway.
Wow.
But a dream so big just allowed me to do this.
Andy, that's incredible. It truly is. Now, that experience led to a legendary musical career that began when you left Montreal and went to New York and got involved in songwriting in the Brill Building. And that gave rise to the very special anniversary that we're here to talk about today, which is on Friday, May 10, the marking of the 50th anniversary of your massive hit, Rock Me Gently, happens. And it was huge. It hit number 1 in the US, it hit number 2 in the UK. Stayed in the charts for 4 months.
Well, you know what? I think while you're living it, when it's there and everybody has turned me down and everybody really was true to the adage that Lieber and Stoller had, and Lieber and Stoller are songwriters who were the godfather of, to me, the Brill Building, and they wrote Hound Dog and Jailhouse Rock and so many other Elvis hits and for so many people. You're only as good as your last 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And you have to know that the songs in those days were 2 minutes and 30 seconds because that's what everybody played. So, for me, I just think that it's almost like I dreamt all of it. And then when I get a note that said, hey, it's going to be 50 years. And I wonder, okay, what did I do with those 50 years? Well, I've had the best time realizing one thing when I was small and trying to find my way. And that is that I am living my one and only life. I'm not living someone else's life. I mean, I'm not living my brother's life. I'm not living my mom and dad's life. I'm just living this life. And I think that knowledge propelled me to hold on to that moment where, hey, what are you doing with your one and only life? And to me, I believed in a dream. My dad came up to me one time and he said, Dad, you don't even sing at home. You don't even play an instrument. But I felt and knew something that I could not explain.
Yeah, I'm fascinated with that because before Rock Me Gently, of course, in '69, you were the co-writer and you sang on #1 song of the entire year, Sugar Sugar by the Archies.
Yeah, you know what? Well, nobody knew it was going to be that huge of a song. I mean, nobody wanted to play it to begin with. There's kind of a parallel. Sugar Sugar comes out May 24th, 1969. Someone sent me this stat here. So May 24th, 1969, how do we ever, Baby I Love You hits the charts for the first time. Same day, Sugar Sugar was released, but it didn't get played till July of that year.
Okay.
And here I come with Rock Me Gently. I'm the writer, artist, producer, performer, singer, and nobody wants to release it in the U.S. So I decided to come back home. My mother started to cry when I called her, and I said, Mom, I'm coming home. But she didn't hear the rest, which I'm starting my own record company, and in about a couple of months, I know that someone in the U.S. will, start playing it. And I just love this record, Mom. She didn't hear anything. Well, she heard it, but she didn't really. She just wanted to know that I was coming home. So what are dreams for? What are dreams about? How do you invest your life? And you invest it in something that is beyond you. I don't understand it myself. I mean, I've lived it, and I turned out to find out that, I can write a song. I can make a record. I can be president of a record company. Because I never really understood the word no. That just gave me the opportunity to say, okay, well, there's something else that's going on. And with God's angels helping me, I'm going to find what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not that bright, by the way. I just know that this is what I think my life is about. And as time went on and I became more philosophical, I have tried to just tell artists, young artists, this is your one and only life. This is it. You know, oh yeah, we're going to plan on this plan. No, wait a minute. This is a coveted heartbeat. What are you going to do about being you? Not about your friends, not about your parents, not about your loved ones. What are you doing about you? And I think that there's so much involved in being about you. There's love, there's happiness, there's forgiveness, there's sorrow. But isn't that why we're here? I'm trying as much as I can to tell people that it's not about the anger that you have for someone. That's waste of heartbeats. That's waste of time. But I celebrate today the fact that I wrote a song and everybody turned me down, and came back home and started my own record company because I really believed in something that was bigger than me. And here we are.
It's an incredibly inspiring story, Andy. It took a lot of courage for you to do that. I admire that.
Well, I'll be honest with you. So, Brent, here's how it goes. It's not that I had courage. It's just that I had no choice. So I had no choice but to really believe in something so strongly that I wasn't hearing someone who was saying no. I just figured it was an opportunity for me to go to someone else, and then someone else. And then when everybody said no, I just figured, well, I believe in this.
Yeah.
It's the commitment of life. Maybe I've become too philosophical right now. You know, when Rock Me Gently came out, I was so excited that I heard it on the radio in my mom and dad's kitchen. And when it started to get some U.S. play, that was another world. And when you believe in the dream and you follow through with what you really expect. John, I don't know if you know this or I mentioned it to you when we last spoke, but John Lennon gave me my gold record for Rock Me Gently.
Oh, I didn't know that, Andy. Really?
Yeah. And it was totally by mistake. Totally by mistake. I am in the chairman of the board's office talking about doing Top of the Pops in the UK. And he said, you know what? I'm going to come with you.
Okay.
And we started talking about my tour and stuff, and the door opens, and I couldn't see at that moment. There was an unwrapping of something. And I look up, and it's John Lennon, and I am frozen.
Oh, my God.
If we had cameras back then or cell phones back then, you would see me like with my mouth wide open. And he says, Andy Kim, I love this song. Congratulations.
Oh, wow.
And he comes and he gives me the gold record. And Basker Menon, who was the chairman of the board, took my elbow and escorted me out the door. There was no introduction. It's like, you're in the way now. Because this is John Lennon. So it's a beautiful moment for me with this song. To know that I didn't meet him. He just came, he existed in a moment. It's like, it's taken me 50 years to probably think about, well, that was really him. I got the opportunity to go and sit in the corner in the back when Phil Spector was producing John's album in Los Angeles.
Oh, wow. And
it was like really a gift. I had called to see if Phil allowed people to just kind of hang around, and because of Be My Baby, my version, and all of that stuff. And it's okay. And I'm like a fly on the wall. And then Cher comes in, and Harry Nilsson comes in, and so many people come in. And it's just like, I'm still the kid that grew up in Montreal.
Yeah. That
grew up in the tenements and can't believe that I'm here.
I think that's great. I love that. You've never really lost that enthusiasm.
Well, I think I'm still that kid, knowing that it's all possible and it's all a wonder. You know, I do pinch myself and think, hey, if I could connect those dots, I don't know if I'd get there. It's not about how many friends you have on Facebook or how many people go to your X page or whatever social media is about. It's about what do you have to say for yourself, not piggybacking on what other people are doing, because then you're going to get nowhere. Wow. Am I just like off the record here?
No, this is fantastic. And you are entitled to this. You have left your mark on the world, and you're entitled to be philosophical and reflective and to go off the record, if you will. I mean, you've achieved something that's incredible.
Well, I celebrate every day. Someone asked me, do you pray? I said, yes. I pray in the morning and I say, thank you, God. And I pray at night and I say, thank you, God. Mm-hmm. I don't know how it worked. It's like you write a song and people ask you, well, how come you wrote that song? Well, I don't know. It just came to me. Whether it's Sugar Sugar or How Do We Ever Get This Way or Shoot 'Em Up Baby or any of those songs. Mm-hmm. It's really it's really a mystery, to me. So I just feel lucky and blessed that I'm alive and well, seeing it all for what it is. And it's really the belief in something that doesn't exist, like a song. Songs just, I think it was Carole King that when they asked her, so what about all these songs? She said, I don't know. I think they just came. So I wish I were able to articulate this a little more. I'm kind of in awe. I know some musicians who've written records and written songs rather and had some hit records and things. They walk around as if, I don't know how to finish this sentence without being crude, but they walk around as if. And I always found it kind of interesting. It's really thank you, God, for this.
I know exactly what you're trying to say, and I think you have a great attitude.
Well, that attitude is a blessing for me. It's not something I thought about. It was just, that's what it is,
I just like the fact that you believed in yourself enough. You believed in yourself at two critical times. When you moved from Montreal to New York and to move back home and release Rock Me Gently on your own label. Those were two things that people might consider but say, nah, it's never going to work out. You believed that it would, and you did it. That's admirable.
Well, if I can be an example, Brent, I'm hoping that someone who's starting out and sees the multiple possibilities in today's world, but zeroes in on who and what they are. This is your one and only life. You're not the guy next door. You're not anything other than you. It kind of took me a while to understand it all, and you kind of float. I floated at the beginning, the awe of meeting people and all of that, the Mamas and Papas and the Beach Boys and all of those artists that were on the radio and all of that. And for me to get a call from Brian Wilson telling me that he loved my version of Baby I Love You.
Oh, wow.
Was an incredible moment. It was on a bus in Pennsylvania, and we had a mutual friend, Jeffrey Foskett, who passed on this year. And I mean, Jeffrey Foskett, who played guitar and sang in Brian's band and was part of the Beach Boys. At 18 years old, he knocked on the door of a Bel Air house, and it was Brian Wilson, because he wanted to meet Brian Wilson. He actually knocked on the door.
Wow.
And Brian Wilson opened it, and that's when he had his living room was filled with sand and all of this.
Yeah.
And Brian invited him in, whatever condition Brian was in. It was a beautiful thing for an incredible musician, an incredible human being. I can't talk enough about Jeffrey Foskett. Those moments in time, obviously my version of Be My Baby was not even close to Brian's. It was the Ronette version. Yes. That's his thing. But to know that you're heard, to know that you're understood, and to know that sometimes you're doing it on your own. Because you have nowhere to turn to. But that path is already there for you. Just believe in it. Am I getting too old for this conversation?
No, you're not. It's very inspiring. It's impressive to me. You should be very proud of yourself.
I don't know if I'm proud of myself, but I smile at the thought of me. My brothers, when they see me, they smile at the thought of me as well. But it's just, look, if you see yourself more than someone else, we go to the moon, so we respect people like Chris Hadfield. Mm-hmm. You get a chance to get to know him and to know that he's so brilliant that he's also a human being and cares for people. So that's my relationship with Chris. And I think that you can't jump over yourself. You gotta be honest and true and kind and loving and forgiving. That's when it all opens up for you.
And humble, like you.
Well, I don't know if it's the word humble that it is. It's just who I am. It's who I'd like to continue to be. Mm-hmm. It's who I've always been. And maybe it's my Canadian way of living my life.
That could be. I'll tell you something. I've been doing this for a long time, and it's so nice what's that old saying? Never meet your heroes. But when you meet somebody that you respect and admire through their artistry, and they turn out to be great people, there's nothing better than that, Andy. It's so nice to experience.
Well, I'm honored that you're saying that. If you ask anybody that really knows me, knows that this is just not a conversation for the moment. This is basically how I live, and I've always lived this way. Mm-hmm. I cried over the phone when I got the call that said that I'm being inducted into the Order of Canada. Mm-hmm. And I cried because my mom and dad were not here to see all the heartache I gave them by refusing to adhere to anything other than what I was hoping to become. Mm. It all starts with a little spark, I don't know if I deserve anything. I'm just living the best moment I can. And that's what I wish for everybody.
Yeah.
We live in a funky time, but it was funky back then too. I mean, Sugar Sugar came out in the year of Woodstock, and we were going to the moon, and we had Kent State, and we had riots in the streets. I don't know what's changed. I think the only thing that I can think of is if you're lucky enough to understand the moment, and then to be your true self, you live a great life. I don't care what occupation you have and what gender you are. It means nothing. It's important to know that you're born with a certain amount of heartbeats and you don't know how many you've been given, so you may as well be doing what you love to do with the people you love to be with.
Well said, sir. Andy, congratulations on every achievement that you've experienced since hearing Be My Baby on your brother's radio that night. I love that story. I love this conversation. It was a genuine pleasure speaking with you, as it always is. You're timeless, and I look forward to seeing what comes next with you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for this time, because you're not going to get these heartbeats back. Mm-hmm. And I hope that we get to see each other in person again.
I'd like that. Yeah, definitely. Let's keep in touch. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Andy. Take good care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. This has been No Sleep Till Sudbury with my very special guest, the legendary Mr. Andy Kim. Till next time, folks. Take good care.
Brent Jensen is the best-selling author of No Sleep Till Sudbury, Leftover People, and All My Favorite People Are Broken. All titles available in stores and on Amazon worldwide.